Ever thought about what's behind the screen you're watching? It's not just your smartphone but also your car and even the light bulbs in your house. There's a tech revolution happening right under our noses, one that's shaping the world economy and stirring up geopolitical tensions. We're diving into the world of semiconductors and rare earth elements, the hidden forces that could redefine global power. So what are semiconductors really? In simple terms, they're the tiny brains behind all our modern gadgets. These materials like silicon can sometimes conduct electricity and sometimes not, which lets them control electric signals. Think of them as the gatekeepers for your electronics. Without semiconductors, your laptop wouldn't know what to do and your phone would be just a fancy paperweight. They've come a long way, from bulky circuits to microchips smaller than your fingernail. They power everything from your everyday gadgets to advanced military gear, and their importance? Absolutely huge. Now this is where things get really fascinating. Behind those tiny powerful chips are rare earth elements, or as the French say, terre rare. There are 17 of these elements, like neodymium and dysprosium, and they're crucial for making magnets, batteries, and yes, semiconductors. Without them, the chips we depend on just wouldn't work. Rare earths are also key for clean energy tech. Think wind turbines, electric cars, and even space exploration. But here's the twist. Despite their name, rare earths aren't actually that rare. The tricky part is that they're really tough to extract and refine in a cost-effective way. So, who's really running the show in the tech world? When it comes to semiconductors, Taiwan is the big player. The Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC, cranks out more than half of the world's semiconductors. And right behind them is South Korea's Samsung. On the rare earth elements front, China is the top dog, controlling a massive 70% of the global supply. This gives China a huge edge in high-tech industries around the world. And this isn't just by chance. Both Taiwan and China have poured resources into these sectors, giving them not just tech power, but also a big say on the global stage. So, what's the economic impact? Well, it's massive. The semiconductor industry is worth over $500 billion today and could hit $1 trillion by 2030. Every sector, healthcare, automotive, energy, defense, depends on them. And when it comes to rare earths, their demand is soaring with the push for renewable energy and electric vehicles. The global rare earth market is expected to double by 2028. This is where things start to connect. Control over these resources, semiconductors and rare earths, has already sparked economic friction. The US and Europe, realizing their reliance on Taiwan for semiconductors and China for rare earths, are investing heavily in domestic production. But building new semiconductor foundries takes time, years actually, and the race is on to break this dependency. Let's dive into the politics. Taiwan's leading role in semiconductors places it smack in the middle of the US-China rivalry. The island is a major geopolitical hotspot. If things heat up between China and Taiwan, whether over semiconductors or other issues, the global tech supply chain could be in serious trouble. Likewise, China's grip on rare earths has already been used as a strategic tool. Back in 2010, during a territorial spat with Japan, China briefly stopped exporting rare earths. The message was loud and clear: control these resources and you hold the power. Now governments are racing to find alternative sources, but China's head start gives it a significant advantage. The US, for example, has labeled rare earths as crucial for national security and is pouring money into domestic mining and recycling efforts. But it's a race against the clock. So, could this race for semiconductors and rare earths actually lead to conflict? Some experts think it already has. Trade wars, tech embargoes, and sanctions have made things pretty tense globally. But there's an even scarier thought. What if this economic competition turns into military conflict? Imagine a war over technology. Sounds crazy, right? But history shows us that wars have been fought over resources way less important than the building blocks of our modern world. As countries like China, the US, and Europe compete for control, the geopolitical landscape could change completely. Control over semiconductors and rare earths might just become the biggest conflict of the 21st century. In today's tech-driven world, semiconductors and rare earths are like the heartbeat of innovation. Countries that dominate these sectors aren't just boosting their economies, they're shaping our future. So the big question is, will this future be built on teamwork or rivalry? The stakes are huge, and what happens next? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Hit subscribe for more on tech, geopolitics, and what lies ahead.